All right, welcome back. So this is the basic animation we created in a previous lecture. The cube is moving, bouncing, changing scale. But let's say I don't like the way this animation looks. I think it's very slow, right? So what I can do is scale out or scale down the keyframes, which is pretty easy. So first, hover over the timeline, move to frame 0. Now press on A to select all of your keyframes. And if you remember, scaling in Blender is done by S. So if I move my cursor to 0 and then press on S, and now you can see I can scale up the keyframes or scale them down. If you scale down the keyframes, they're going to be closer to each other, which means the motion is going to happen a lot faster. So now if I play my animation, you can see the motion happens a lot faster. And vice versa, if I scale it up, the motion is going to be very, very slow. It's going to take a long time to reach from 0 keyframe, 60 keyframe, or 120 keyframe, and so on. Now, what I want to show you as well is that the scaling is done in relation to the cursor, in relation to where the cursor is placed. So if I have my cursor placed over here, the timeline cursor, the scaling is going to be done from here. But if I place my cursor on the last frame, which is frame 86 in this case, now watch what happens if I try to scale it, right? It scales from this direction. So I can either scale and move my mouse on the left or the right side, and it's pretty much going to change the location and the scale of the animation. Now, if I place it in the middle, somewhere like on frame 45, you can see it scales from the middle. So that's what you should keep in mind. I usually like to place on starting keyframe and then scale this down because that's what I use most of the time. But sometimes you might want to do that. What I also like to do is instead of scaling them down manually, I can press on S and then type a value. For example, let's say I want to make this animation 2 times slower. If I want to do that, I can press on S and then type 2 on my keyboard. So now the animation is going to be 2 times slower, but it's going to take a long time to reach from one keyframe to another. Or I can go for different values, S.8, S.75, and so on. I can also scale it up again, S3, I can scale it out 3 times, so that's a pretty handy tool to scale up or scale down the animations. Another thing I wanted to remind you is how you can select the keyframes. So you can either drag it or select it, or you can actually left click, and now you can move it around. So you can move the individual keyframes like this, or if you want to move all the keyframes, you can press on A, select everything, move them, or press on S and scale them up or scale them down.